My boyfriend won't sleep with me after he was assaulted. I can't take it anymore. A year ago, my boyfriend was intimately assaulted as he was leaving work. Thankfully, he was not killed. However, his attacker did threaten him with a knife. Fortunately, the store he works at had cameras in the parking lot, and between them getting video of the attack and the bank across the street getting the attacker's car on camera, the police were able to catch him within a day. Between the video and DNA testing, he did not even contest. He just pleaded guilty in exchange for not receiving the max. Since there were aggravating circumstances, the knife, the judge gave him a 20-year sentence. And with time for good behavior, he can be out in about 10 years, give or take. I tell you all of that to make it clear that his attacker is no longer a threat. He doesn't have to fear him coming back for him at least for 10 years or so. Obviously, this was a very traumatic event in his life, and while I was not a victim, it was also very traumatic for me as well. I can't imagine what he has gone through, and I don't compare my situation to his at all. But I have had severe bouts of depression because I couldn't protect him, and knowing someone else was harming him sometimes was almost more than I could handle. Right after the incident, he did not want to see me. I get that. It hurt, but I understood. His parents picked him up from the hospital, and I did not see or hear from him for a week, which I sort of get, but I think I could have gotten a text or something just saying he was okay. Finally, a week and his sister called me and let me know that he was staying with his parents and he would be calling me in a couple of days. He never called me. Instead, I once again got a text from his sister saying he would like me to come over for a few minutes so we can talk. I get up and go over and am greeted at the door by his mother, who very calmly and very coldly starts laying out to me how I am to act and what I am to say. I am further instructed to not attempt to make any physical contact with him, as in a hug or anything. Okay. Again, I get it. Major trauma? I'm sure they have been coached by therapists/counselors or something in what to say and do around him, so I play along. I walk in, and he is sitting on a chair with his dad standing next to him and his sister sitting on the couch. As I walk in the room, the sister starts talking and telling me that my boyfriend wants me to know that he is okay, but obviously, he has been traumatized and appreciates my understanding in his recovery. He never said one single word to me and barely looked at me. Again, this was right after the event, and I'm understanding that this is how it has to be. But honest to God, that entire conversation was just awkward as hell. I leave, go home, and attempt to focus on how I can help him. I started Googling how to deal with an intimate assault survivor and what I can expect. He starts going to therapy initially 2 times a week, then after 2 months, it goes down to 1 day a week. In the meantime, he finally makes contact with me and asks to meet at a coffee shop. I get there, and he is already there and waiting. At this point in time, they had him so medicated that I was dealing with a zombie for the most part. There was no emotion and he was very methodical in his speech. Basically, he wanted to get together that day to tell me that he couldn't go out with me for a while until he got past some issues he was dealing with. Of course, I told him I understood. This was almost a month after the attack and this was our first conversation by ourselves, so I was already living under this assumption. I told him I would be there for him and that whatever he needed, whether that be space or a shoulder to cry on or anything, I was there for him. I started to tell him that I loved him and he stopped me. He told me that right now he didn't want to hear that and that I had to respect his wishes. I was once again a little hurt and frankly surprised, but I said whatever he wanted. He started texting me the next day. Little things, nothing important, but I think it is a big step in getting back to where we were. This goes on for another month and a half. I finally asked him at the month-and-a-half mark if we could meet for dinner. He didn't reply for 2 days and then said that he had to wait to talk to his therapist. Finally, he agrees to this but sets the date for another month away. Now mind you, this is almost 4 months after the attack, and so far, I've had 1 physical conversation with him in person and 1 bizarre conversation with him and his family. Oh, yeah. I need to mention this. I am not being updated on his progress by anyone. Granted, I realize that I am not officially family nor am I entitled to do anything, but it would have been nice to just get a text or call or something from someone telling me that he was doing good in therapy or was not or anything. We went out to eat at a small bistro that we ate at all of the time. I met him there and I was waiting for him to show up. After sitting for a half-hour waiting, I texted to see what was up. I just got a text of on my way. He finally arrives and sits down. I asked him how he had been and he snapped at me and told me to not ask him personal questions. We ate and after dinner, I wanted to just sit and talk because I missed the person I had talked to almost every day for the previous 3 years. But when he was done eating, he said that he was ready to go home. I asked him if he could stay for just a few minutes to talk, but I could see that he was becoming physically anxious and I did not want to upset him, so I said that I loved him and missed him. He just walked away. He goes back to texting me the next day like nothing had been wrong. We actually start to see each other once a week for lunch, and he is getting more and more comfortable with being out. So he sits and talks a while. He has also started a new job which he tells me about. This goes on for another 4 months. I'm happy to see him at all, but honestly, I'm very lonely and we have not even so much as held hands. Then one day he doesn't show up for lunch. I text to see if he is okay. No reply. I called his parents to see if they knew where he was and to make sure he was okay. I got the runaround from them, and by this time, I was starting to get upset because I didn't want to know where he was or anything. I just wanted to know if he was okay. After actually saying that, his mom says, yes, he is okay, but don't expect to hear from him for a while. Well, that makes me start to think he has had a relapse, and is in the hospital. But what can I do? All I do is go home and try and take my mind off of it. 2 weeks pass with nothing from anybody. I'm trying my best to be reasonable here, but apologized, but his sister told them to specifically not let me talk to him. At this point, I break down. I don't know what I've done wrong here. I have not pushed him. I have not tried to get him to be with me in any way other than to just talk to me, and even then I have had very generic conversations so as to not upset him. I then got a text from him asking if I would meet with him at an address I wasn't familiar with, but once I looked it up, I determined this was a therapist's office. I was told to be there at 4 p.m., which meant I had to leave work early to get there. I check in at the front desk and I'm told that the therapist wants to speak to me alone for a few minutes. She comes in and I now know where the parents were getting this from because after formally greeting me, she then started to provide me with a list of do's and don'ts. She then told me that my boyfriend wanted to speak to me and had something to tell me. I go in and he is sitting on one chair and I am instructed to sit in the other. He has a box of tissues and has been crying. The therapist told me that I was there because my boyfriend had something to tell me and that he wanted the safety of the therapist's office to feel safe. He then proceeded to tell me that the reason he did not meet me for lunch that day was because he was with another girl, somebody from his new job, and they had been intimate with each other. He might as well have taken a gun out and shot me. It couldn't have hurt anymore. I just dropped my head and began to cry. The therapist then pipes in with some logic about him taking back his intimacy since he was attacked and how this wasn't cheating in the same sense as normal cheating. My boyfriend,